Cove Studios here, and welcome to our first tutorial of 2011. We're going to create a nice, beautiful, but simple 3D metal text that you can use on a blog or your website, wherever you want, to just add some style and to show you a few of the techniques in using Pixelmator. So let's get started. First, open a canvas about 1280 by 800. That's what I'm starting with here, and we'll close this down. So we'll start on our first transparent layer here, and we'll work on our background very first. First of all, create this gradient, and I'll show you. It is here's the code for it. It's a blue-gray and then to white. Nice, simple linear gradient. And that's what we're going to use right now. So go to your gradient tool and select a gradient. And there's two ways that you can pull a gradient. You can hold the mouse button down and drag, and when you let off, it'll set the gradient. Now we'll do Command Z to undo. Another way, it's kind of nice, you can click quick once, and then your hand's free to move this where you want, and then you can click again to set the gradient once you get what you feel like you want. So there's two different ways. Use the one that works for you. So we've just added some color here with a gradient. Let's add a filter to it. Let's stylize, noise. We'll add a little texture, just 1 pixel, and turn off monochrome to give it some color. And that's it. You can see now in Pixelmator 164, beautiful gradients. You don't see that banding you used to see. It's been dithered really nice. I really enjoy these new gradients. So now let's get on with the text. Let's go to a new layer. Oh, actually we don't need to do that. Apologize, we'll take that off. The text layer will actually create its own layer. So go to the text tool, and you can put a bounding box out there, and we're going to use Century Gothic, and looks like I'm already on that still, and we're going to use bold and 288, and we're just going to type hello, and that's a weird color, so we'll use black, and that should work. Hold on a second. Let's actually go to colors, choose black. There we go, it worked that time. And that's good. And then we can choose our move tool. So this is what we'll start with here. And we'll use this layer as our shadow layer, but we can create other layers from it. So let's command click on that layer, create another layer above it. And we're going to fill that one with white, and you can actually hit the X key, and notice right here it'll switch the background to the foreground if you want to switch between those two colors. It's a nice, quick, and easy way to do it. And then Option Command F to fill with white, and you've got your white layer and you've got your black layer here, really nice. Now we're going to add, since we still have the selection, we're going to add another layer above it, and we're going to pull a gradient on this text here. So go to your gradient tool, and then you're going to create this gradient, and here is the code for that. So here's the, make sure that's correct. Yeah, that's right. On either side it should be this number here, and in the middle is just white. And you should be on the linear gradient here. Okay, so let's pull this gradient a little bit above, and we want to line it up so it's 180, and you can hold the shift key down whenever you're pulling a gradient to get that 180. See how it'll go 45 and 90 if you hold the shift key. You don't have to guess. It's a nice way to do that. Actually, I'm going to undo. I'm going to go up a little higher here, hold shift, pull a gradient so it's not curved too much, just like that, and then let off, and then let off shift. Alright, good. And then we can Command D to deselect. Now take the layer that you've just made, right click and duplicate it, and this is the layer we're going to create the brushed metal effect on. So we'll go up to filter and we'll go to stylize noise, and 25 is good. Maybe we'll do a little bit more. We want some good grain, and leave monochrome on and it should be fine. And that same layer, go back to filter, blur, motion blur, and this is a standard way to create some brushed metal. It's a quick and easy way to do it, and we will pull just enough to get the effect, and then I'm going to angle it just a little bit, just like that. Okay, and then hit OK. Now we have a lot of this blur on the outside that we can get rid of, so all we need to do is command click the layer that was right below that to get its selection. Stay on the layer that you created the brush metal on, and then go up to edit, inverse, and then just hit the delete key and you'll see all of that be deleted. It'll be fine. And then command D for deselect. Okay, so there's our brush layer. Very easy. We've got our gradient, and the reason why we have the gradient layer underneath and the brush layer is because when you do the effect, it actually leaves a little transparency on the edges, so by having that solid gradient layer underneath, you don't see that. Now let's go to our first text layer, and we can convert into pixels because we're going to blur it. Go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and this is where we're just going to create our shadow. This is just a simple drop shadow, and we'll pull, let's say 16 or 17 should be good. We're already getting the effect of that metal text kind of arcing off of the flat surface. We're going to move this down with your keyboard. You can hit V to go to your move tool, and then just hit the down arrow key a couple times, and maybe over to the right also a couple times. So that just gives us, our text becomes kind of three-dimensional, becomes an object. Okay, so it's looking good. Now let's add the screws to really make this look like some metal text. So we'll go to the top of the stack here, and then we'll add another layer. And go to your brushes palette, and this is the brush set that I'm using, Arcs, Rivets, Metal Brushes by RC. RC is distracted, so click that. I'll give a link in the comments to this brush, and I'm going to use this flathead screw, and make sure hit the X to change back to my black, and we're going to go to my brush tool now, and the size, let's see what the size is, about 10 pixels is fine. And I'm just going to do one of the screws for now. So I'm going to pick the middle of this and hit it once, and it puts the screw head right there. And instead of on one layer going through and trying to put all the screws in the right places, I wouldn't be able to move them. I'd be stuck. So the better way to do it is put one screw brush down, and then go to your move tool again, hitting V, and then hold the Option key, and what you'll do is you'll pull a new layer with each time you click the mouse button, and you want to do that for all the screws, and I'll show you why in a second. So we'll just go through real quick and add a screw to the ends of all my letters, and you can decide where you want those for fun. Just put one here, we'll fix that later. And we'll keep going with this here. Okay, a couple more. So we're holding the Option key, we're clicking the mouse and dragging each time, and that will add the each of them, as you see the layers on the side, they're adding to a new layer. Now it looks like a lot, but we're going to combine this later. But here's the nice thing, is right now, if you click click on the rulers, you can pull guidelines down, and this is really going to help you with your design. So I'm going to be able to put a guideline here, and then I'm going to be able to line each of these up with the guideline, and I can pull another one across, and I'll line these up, and then I'll just move this guideline down, and then use this to just keep lining all of these up, and you'll have a perfect design, look really good. So I won't waste time right now doing that. We'll just leave it as is. If you don't have these labeled, you can go down to Show Transform Controls, and the way I use this is I can tell when I click on a layer. It's easy to find out what you're working with here. So I use that sometimes, and you can fix this one. Especially if they're not labeled, it's hard to know what you're working with. Okay, and we can turn that off if we want here. When you're done lining them all up, you can go to the top most screw that we put, and then go down to the bottom one, which would be layer 4, about right here, and hold the shift key and tap the mouse key, and it will select them all, and then we can actually go to merge layers. And how simple, and then we can call this screws. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add an effect to this. Let me zoom in, Command plus to zoom in a little bit. And if I command click on the screws to get their shape, let me add a layer, and then we're going to put hit X to switch our palette again because I need white, and then Option Command Fill to fill that in with white. And I'll show you what that does. We can Command D to deselect, and then you want to take that layer and put it underneath the black layer, and then go to the Move tool. Use your keyboard because it's more accurate with 1 pixel. So we're going to drop that layer down 2 or 3 pixels, and it looks kind of funny here, but if you back out, let me go back up 1 pixel. You see that? It adds a beveled effect, like the light is shining down, and you can tell these screws are inset, and just gives it more of a real look. So just a simple thing you can do. Okay, well, I believe that's it. This is a simple way you can make 3D metal text really stand out. It wasn't too difficult. You can use groups too by taking all of these and grouping them together, and then naming that group, and this will help you with your projects. Now I'll shut this one off, turn this one on that I've finished, and the only difference here is I added some letterpress text, and if you know how to do that, it's simply put some dark text, and then behind it put a white layer of the same text, drop it 1 pixel, and then tone down its opacity till it looks like you have that pressed in look. Other things you can do with this same metal are add things like a shadow. Look at the difference that does. It makes the light change. And I simply took another layer of this word here and turned down the opacity. And then I used the rectangular lasso tool to go from the point here to this point, and it created this shadow here. So there's other things that you can do with this text to make it change a little bit here. Okay, well that's it for now, and we thank you for checking out our first tutorial of 2011. We look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you very much.